Excelente. Cool. And we are in the mix. Jacob Williams, how are you, sir?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good, man. You brought over the coffee, and what is this, an early evening coffee? So I'm a massive coffee guy, but what number coffee is this for you?
It's number 1 because I just woke up, but
Number 1 for the day?
yeah.
All right.
This is my morning, 6 p.m.
Do you have the, what is it, the Pret membership? That it's like $9.99 a month. Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
I know what you're talking about. It's just, I think they have one that's like a premium membership, $29.99 a month. One that's $19.99 a month. I assume that's just regular coffee. And the other one's I don't know. I just saw it while I was there, but they're my new sponsor. Not really, but I do like their coffee.
Are you black coffee guy or what?
I've got a little bit of oat milk in here.
Oat milk. All right. I'm happy you made the transition. Were you a big like cow milk before then?
Yeah.
As everyone probably was.
Sure. Yeah.
For the most part, I switched over to oat milk, or I started going black coffee. I used to do like skim milk when I was like in high school 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then slowly switched to black coffee because like one of my ex-girlfriends convinced me to do so. She was like a model, but like I would get her a black coffee, and I would have like a bunch of skim milk in mine, and I was like, oh, why don't I just get 2 black coffees? And then ever since like 11 years ago, I've just been like a strict black coffee guy.
I should try that. That's good.
Yeah, but a little weird. It's like an acquired taste, but like oat milk is probably some of my favorite milk. Oat milk, almond milk is solid. I haven't really gotten into the coconut milk, but the oat milk and almond milk is like all I need. And I'm vegan too, so like that's really like, I mean, those are really the only 2 milks I can even think about. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to move more towards being vegan. I'm not completely, but I try to eat like most of my meals like. Or a lot of them.
Like plant-based?
Yeah, I try to have
off
as
these
many
headphones.
plant-based.
We're going raw.
Like,
Sorry, go ahead.
I definitely still eat anything at all, but I try to like keep most of the time to like eating some vegetables and stuff.
Nice, dude. Where are you from originally?
Originally, Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville. Nice, dude. So I played tennis at UConn, and we played Louisville in the first round of the Big East tournament. They had like an insanely good tennis team.
Oh, wow.
And like any of those teams really down there in the South, like anywhere where you can play tennis like outdoors or like do outdoor activities. But like how often is it warm though in Kentucky?
Pretty often. It's similar to here though, but it's maybe about 10 degrees
Like warmer
than it is here at a given time. So it'll snow
nice.
there most winters, and it'll be almost as hot, maybe a little more hot in the summer. But
like Christmas though, it's like white Christmas down there.
a lot of
Gets
times,
a little bit snowy.
Yeah, but it's always just a little bit not as cold as here in the winter, and maybe a little warmer in the summer.
Cool. So for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, hello, I am Ted Jones. To the left of me, to the right of the camera, we have Jacob Williams, star on Wild N Out, man. So the first time I saw you, dude, was actually during an episode of Wild N Out, probably like 3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then, so one of my friends, Antia Utgard, I'm not sure if you remember her, but she was like a dancer on Wild N Out, and I saw her in one of your pictures, like a tall blonde hair. Saw one of your pictures, and I was like, no way, these guys know each other. So kind of describe, I guess, the process of even growing up in Louisville, Kentucky. Jack Harlow, right, is from there as well. So growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, and then coming to New York for comedy, because you've been doing it for a number of years now.
Yeah, so basically I did grow up in Louisville, like I said. Was kind of a little bit of a class clown in like first grade, but then second grade, my teacher kind of called me out on it, and I got actually a lot more kind of quiet and introspective. So then I tried to find more outlets I would make like short films of my action figures, like stop animation style, or I would like write short stories and try to like entertain my friends with them, and like try to be in plays and stuff in high school and everything.
Like theater club and stuff.
Yeah, I would try it out for a lot. I think I wasn't necessarily great at acting, so I just try out for stuff and not always get cast. But I was like super interested in like the whole world of like just a fan of movies and comedy and everything. And stand-up comedy I was a big fan of as I learned more about it growing up. But it was like never, for a long time I thought like I was like too shy in middle school and high school, where I didn't think that was even an option. So I just assumed that was off the table. But I loved watching like Conan and his like monologues and sketches and guest comedians and stuff like that, and then things on YouTube of stand-up. So I was like just a big fan of it. And then when I saw people like Dimitri Martin go on his show, I was like,
love Dimitri Martin.
Yeah, when I was starting out, that was the first time I saw someone that was like kind of that quieter style, and I really appreciated stuff like what he or Mitch Hedberg were doing and stuff. So
nice, the one-liners, kind of zingers.
Yeah, so I was like definitely a fan of that. And then I actually at my college my high school graduation, it was a small school, so they let it basically literally anyone could give a speech if they wanted to. It was
nice. It wasn't just like the valedictorian.
Yeah, exactly. So like I did a speech there, which was like kind of a chance to like try to sneak in some like jokes or the closest I could come to writing jokes at the time. And that was like kind of a fun experience and scary at the time. But then my freshman year at college, I was going to college in a small school in Beloit, Wisconsin, and called Beloit College, and my friend did an open mic there that was like an open mic for all the college students that was like mostly music and poetry and all kinds of stuff. But it was the first time I saw someone do stand-up at like a very beginner level, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize, like, I thought you had to be like these other comedians I've seen that are always like, I thought you had to be polished right away, like the people I've seen on TV. And I realized you could just sign up. So I decided to sign up and do it after that.
How much time were you doing at those open mics in college?
I don't know. The first one, it all seemed pretty loose. So I think
it was just like whatever you have, just do it.
Yeah, I don't even know because I didn't record it or anything. But I think I just did. It might have only been like 3 minutes, but they probably would have let me go on as long as I wanted to. I think I just wrote down a bunch of ideas for a couple of weeks and then showed up, and I was just terrified, but I told some friends I was going to do it, so I felt like I had to follow through because they were there.
Totally, bro.
So I was just like in the bathroom feeling like I was going to throw up, and then I went out and just tried out these things that I'd written down and throughout the week, and it was a really supportive crowd, so it went like probably better than it would have in front of strangers or something, but it was enough to like kind of get me hooked and just keep doing. So I just kept doing open mics and then I would do stuff like in my hometown when I was there. I'd go to Chicago a lot during college, and then I lived in Chicago for a few years after doing like...
Because Wisconsin's pretty close to Chicago, right?
Yeah, it was about an hour and a half or less maybe, I don't know.
But you would go into Chicago with the idea of doing comedy.
Yeah, so I did that occasionally when there were like breaks and things, and then on summer breaks I would like do comedy around the scene in my hometown, and then and also instead of studying abroad, I ended up like doing 2 semesters in Chicago during college. So I spent like a summer and 2 semesters there, just so I could like get more stage time.
Oh wow!
And then I ended up going back there after college and just
to Chicago. You went after college?
Yeah, so I was there for a few years.
Okay.
Like 4 years altogether, I guess, and then before, like during and after college, and then came here.
So how did you feel like the Chicago comedy scene compared to New York? And how old were you when you moved to New York?
When I moved here, that's a good question. I was probably like 25 or something, because it was 2014 in the summer, so it was about 8 years ago now. I'm 33 now, but yeah, I guess it's the Chicago scene in New York is similar in that there's like just like a lot of stage time and like a lot of people that just love doing it and love like getting up a lot, and there's a lot of clubs and a lot of independent rooms.
Okay.
There's open mics, and then there's improv stuff going on, and you can take classes and perform that too. So I had been doing a little bit of that on the side in Chicago too, in addition to just trying to get up on stage as much as I could at any shows or mics or anything. And then, so I feel like Chicago is definitely a good kind of training ground for New York in that way. And it's just kind of a smaller scene, so there's not always as much like opportunity for like auditioning for like a TV show or something. But then it's kind of nice because you can like kind of learn and like find your voice before, and then make like a first impression here once you've figured some stuff out. I don't know if that worked for me, but that's in theoretically.
So when you moved to New York, though, did you feel like you already kind of had your footing in improv and comedy? You were like, okay, now it's time for me to move to New York.
Yeah, I think I had always like been really intrigued by New York, and I'd visited here a few times. Like I think in middle school, I went on a trip here with my friend and my parents, and we actually went to a taping of Conan, and then we also saw a stand-up show in the lobby of the hostel we were staying at.
Oh, no way.
And then just did some tourist stuff, and I was just like always kind of really intrigued by the city. It just like it was such a fascinating like energy to it, and like all this like all, you know, like just all the like stuff going on here all the time, and being able to walk around and go through Central Park and all the like, you know, downtown areas and
do all like the New York tourist stuff.
But so I was just like always fascinated by it. And then when I would visit, I always just really loved like doing the comedy scene or just walking around and everything about New York. So I just like had the idea I wanted to move here, and ended up doing that eventually once. I think it was just a situation where like some of my roommates were moving out, and it would have been just kind of a hassle to keep like finding new roommates and all this stuff. And I had like decided
in
to give it a
Chicago.
shot. Yeah, I think I was putting it off for a while because I was like trying to maybe save up more money, but then it just was a situation where I would have had to end up moving anyway, and I felt like I didn't really have a lot of new stuff to do there that I had. Like at that point, I'd already kind of either done all the shows I wanted to do, or the few that I hadn't. It didn't seem like there was like much more to gain in the scene that I hadn't done. I'd gotten a tour out of Chicago and did a lot of really fun shows, and it felt like a good time to try something different. So it was definitely scary, but I was glad to mix it up and just come here. And I guess I had been lucky enough to start doing comedy full time a couple of years before that, because I had you know, really low rent in Chicago and very like low expenses and stuff. But I'd done at that point America's Got Talent, and I think 1 or 2 seasons of Wild N Out. So it was like kind of a good jumping off point to try to like come here and just try to learn more from all the great comedy, you know.
So how did you get involved with, you know, like the few things that you have done, you know, with the accolades that you have doing I don't know how long your set was on Conan. What was it? 5 minutes?
Oh, on Colbert, I did about
Colbert.
Oh,
so you did 5 minutes on Colbert, and you know, you've been on multiple seasons of Wild N Out and America's Got Talent. So what do you think really like boosted you to a point where you were able to, you know, line up these gigs so consistently?
I feel like so I started doing comedy when I was 18. I'm 33 now, so it's coming up on like 15 years. And actually still don't feel like I'm able to line up gigs consistently, honestly. It feels like it kind of comes and goes, and I've had like some really good runs, and a lot of other times where it's really slow and it just kind of goes back and forth. But yeah, I do feel like a lot of it's hopefully you kind of like accumulate some stuff over time of like figuring out some things you can hopefully use. But yeah, it's interesting because it's always like every day is a little different, and you never know if the next show is going to be good or not. But that's kind of what makes it exciting, and then you just try to like learn along the way and get better. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess like it was just kind of like I said, started out doing open mics in college, and gradually that led to like more like gigs and stuff, and was able to do some really fun clubs like Comedy Club on State in Madison. Since I lived nearby, it would sometimes let me open on shows while I was in college and stuff. And then and so I guess about a year after college, I think I just submitted a tape to America's Got Talent. They have like a submission website, and I just sent like a 90-second tape of like a set from Comedy Club on State that it had a really good audience at it, and I guess it kind of fit what they were looking for. They might have wanted like, sometimes they're trying to cast it as a reality show too, so it might have, I don't even know if it was just my jokes or if they were like, oh, we want like a nerdy, like quirky person on this show. Or so I got to do that. And then I had also actually submitted that tape to this contest during college to win a contest to open up for Nick Cannon on his Showtime special in Vegas. So that was like a little earlier than that, but that was like really exciting at the time to have this like free trip to Vegas basically to do stand up there and kind of meet him and everything. And he was also hosting America's Got Talent. So I think that was kind of, so after I did the like 4 rounds of that show, afterwards I was like almost going to quit comedy because I was like, my last round didn't go as well as I wanted. And I thought like, I was like 23 and I was like, oh, I think my career's over. Like, I feel like I messed up.
That's crazy.
Dropped the ball on TV and like, I might never get to be on TV again or do stand up professionally. But I did end up, starting to do it full time around then. But it was I was definitely having a lot of doubts about where it was going. And so, but I didn't even have representation or anything, but I got super lucky that I guess since Nick Cannon had seen me like do stand up a few times, he happened to be rebooting Wild Now, which I didn't know at the time, but he just thought I guess that I might be a fit for
So
it.
he asked you like personally?
He's the one that had them reach out. So he didn't like specifically email me, but he's the one that told everyone else to give me a shot, basically behind the scenes, which I didn't know till later. But
that's so cool.
But yeah, so I just got an email one day, and they're like, "Hey, would you like us to fly you out to New York for an audition for this MTV show?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me cancel my busy plans of."
And at that time, you were in Chicago?
Of doing open mics or whatever I was doing. But yeah, I was in Chicago. And so that was like definitely a big opportunity for me at the time, and still, because it's it's still one of my favorite things I've gotten to do, and I think I've done about 11 seasons, including the one that's airing right now. And yeah, it's been super fun. It was like I was just super lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And then I had been doing like some improv just for fun and a lot of stand up. And luckily that kind of helped me do okay on the show. But it was funny because, I think at the time when Nick first brought it up, I think a lot of the other people involved in the decision before I was hired were like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Like, because I had a very different style and delivery than a lot of people on the show. But then luckily once I was on it, some of them changed their mind and were nice enough to let me stick around for a few years. So it's been so that's been really fun. It's been like a nice way to kind of do like some really fun like short form improv games and like sometimes work in jokes and stuff, and then also have a lot of time outside of that production schedule to focus on stand up and other things that I'm working on. So that's been good.
So in terms of filming the show, you guys just filmed a new season?
Yeah, we filmed a couple seasons last year. So we did one in June that recently aired, and then we did another one in October. And the way it's shot, we can basically shoot like 3 episodes a day, so you can do a whole season in a couple of weeks. So
oh wow!
So in recent years we've started like they'll now do it multiple seasons a year. But yeah, this season that's airing now, I'm really excited about. There's some of the stuff that's about to air is like some of my favorite stuff that I've ever done on the show.
Nice.
So and so I'm really excited about that. And it was really fun to just see everyone again after like, the couple of years of things being canceled and like shut down and like not even being able to do live comedy and having to do like only Zoom shows for a while or outdoor shows. It was like very exciting just to like work with everyone again. And we had all the COVID protocols and stuff, but it was like nice to like just be reunited and get to do like be in front of an audience now on the most recent season and stuff. So it was really fun.
Did you take UCB classes in New York City, or did you take improv classes in Chicago?
Oh yeah, I did a little of both. So I kind of tried a little bit of improv stuff in high school, but for the most part I started taking classes in Chicago. So I did like
what's that place called?
Oh,
is there like a
Second
specific
City?
place? Yeah, that's the one I'm referring to.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of stuff there. Annoyance Theater is really good. I did some stuff there.
That's a funny name.
And
Annoyance.
So I did stuff at IO. They have some of the best improv I've ever seen, like TJ and Dave and Improvised Shakespeare, who will both make up like an hour long, what seems like a play on the spot in real time.
I love improv.
But so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I did when I got here. I eventually took like all the UCB sketch classes, all the UCB improv classes.
Yeah, I did them. I did them too. Amazing.
Yeah, they're great. I love the whole game of the scene model.
The Herald, whatever.
Yeah, and the Herald, and I love. I actually am taking I still love taking classes for. I'm taking 2 musical improv classes right now.
Oh, really? Where?
I'm taking level 3 at the Magnet Theater's musical
I've seen
improv.
that.
And okay, yeah, no, it's amazing. I love it. They make it so fun because you're learning like how to improvise songs within like really specific structures and
Cool.
the whole storytelling format. So that's like so fun to do that. I love like going back and forth between stand up and that, and just like trying these different types of comedy that are like different, but they kind of help me like.
Yeah, they all mesh together, really, man.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I
always
feel
like learn
in
something
terms of
from
when I
each
watch
one
it.
that helps the other one for sure. Absolutely.
So how comfortable are you on stage in terms of time wise? Like if somebody said like, all right, go up there for as much time as possible, how long do you think you'd be able to go up there for? Because I see you're touring.
Sure. Yeah. I did like an hour stand-up special that I'm happy about. I'm like pretty happy.
I saw that, and you released that on YouTube.
Yeah. So that's like free to watch on YouTube. It was shot from a few angles at New York Comedy Club, and then the audio version is on like Sirius XM, but you can listen to the whole thing on like Pandora's, like other, Spotify and all the streaming audio things. So, but I was super happy with how that turned out. And so that was like an hour of my favorite material. And now I think like almost an hour of new stuff that I'm still like want to tighten up a little bit, but I'm starting to like tour with that the last couple of years and like
so dope.
Slowly build it up. So I think I did a show last year at a college where I did about 90 minutes. That's probably like the longest I've
Just
done
you up there?
Yeah, including like I think some riffing and Q&A stuff, but a lot of jokes too. And so, but yeah, like so I love doing. Yeah, the longest I've done is maybe around 90 minutes, maybe more once in a while, but just if I'm like really being silly or something. But generally, I've just been like trying to build up towards like making my new hours stronger. It's still like feels like a rough draft, but it's like I'm just, have a lot of new stuff. I don't know how good some of it is, but some of it I like a lot. So I'm just like trying to figure out the flow of it and like whether I can eventually do another album or special or something.
So will that be your second hour?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because I feel like pretty good about my first official one, even though it's not like it wasn't like on a big platform or anything. But I'm just happy to have it out there. And
it has like hundreds of thousands of views, bro. So don't be too modest, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad some people have been checking it out.
Yeah,
and,
dude.
And I hear that it's like playing a lot on like Laugh USA. There's like actually a clean version of it on Laugh USA.
Oh, nice.
On Sirius XM, and then it plays on other comedy channels on there. So it's like nice that I think it's slowly getting out there to people, and then whoever is listening on the audio, Pandora and stuff has helped too. But yeah, so I'm super happy about that, and just want to like try to keep writing new stuff every day as much as I can, and just getting up doing stand up around town and a little bit on the road. I'm doing a show at the Barclays Center too on.
Let's go.
April
Oh my
9th.
God. I wanted to freaking talk about that.
I'm so
Absolutely.
excited about that.
Dude, that looks so sick, that lineup. It's
the lineup
everyone.
is
I'm putting the
insane.
picture right here. If you guys are watching on Spotify, you see this gorgeous lineup. Jacob being the only white guy, but this looks like a banger of an event. Dude, I want to freaking come. When is it?
April 9th.
All right, I have to look at my schedule. I definitely want to
sure.
come. That looks amazing, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's
How much time are you going to do in that show?
That I'm not sure because it is like
It's
such
like a lot of
strong
comics.
lineup, and everyone else on it is a lot more famous than me and more successful. But I'm just happy to be there. However long I'm doing, I'll be doing some stand up there. It's I think it's like maybe 15,000 people in the seating.
Yeah, dude.
For that
Barclays
and,
Center.
Yeah, it should be fun. Nick Cannon will be there. Lil Kim, T.I. There will be like some music, some comedy. Eddie Griffith, there's a Bruce. There's a ton of people.
Yeah.
Britt Nichols is hosting and putting it together. He's a super funny comedian locally and from Wild N Out, and has done a lot of TV stuff. But so it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
So who books that kind of stuff for you?
That one I think came together through just people I knew on Wild N Out, like Rip and other people involved, but. I guess it kind of varies. Like I have a manager who helps with some stuff, and I have a college agent, and then I guess I do a lot of stuff on my own. So I'm doing like some shows on the road too that are just kind of through either people reaching out to me or people I've met over the years.
Well, let me ask you this: like when, let's say, what's one of the dates you're doing? I saw you were doing something in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, I think I did that recently. I've been doing a lot of like one night shows or 2 night shows in Pennsylvania lately.
So like the club will personally reach out to you on DM, or do they reach out to your manager? Like how does that work?
Yeah, it kind of depends. Like I usually handle like a lot of the stuff that's kind of like driving distance from New York and stuff like that. He sometimes handles more other stuff.
Like if a plane is involved or whatever.
But it just kind of varies. I think I'm just kind of used to doing a lot of stuff on my own, and and I don't have like huge offers coming in all the time where I need like a ton of help with it. But he's helpful and kind of like bouncing ideas back and forth and kind of
Well, how does that work though, payment wise? If you don't kind of mind me asking,
sure.
If you're like a club in Pennsylvania is hitting you up, look, we want to give you $1,500 for the night, and they're just reaching out to you. Like, do you bring that up to your manager? Kind of like, how does that work? Because I know if you're doing a spot at New York Comedy Club or the Stand or whatever, and they're paying you $50 or something like that, you probably are not really getting your manager involved in a situation like that, right?
Sure. Yeah. It just kind of. It depends on if it's like a really big gig or something, or if it's not as much. And then, I feel like he's mostly looking at the big picture of like
managing your career, like the special, like the releasing of the big things that are in your
exactly
career.
So when I talk to him, it's usually he's usually more involved in like other stuff. So so we always are on the same page about like doing like working with the college agent to set up college gigs, and like everyone and then I'll pay everyone out of that whatever that amount is and stuff. So it kind of just depends on the type of event, or like if it's like local or more, I guess it's kind of it kind of varies, but
Are college gigs some of the more fun gigs that you've been doing, or do you find them to be like a little bit, I don't know, intimidating? Maybe because like we're kind of the close to the same age, maybe.
I think they are pretty fun, and I guess it can be intimidating, but mostly it's usually really fun. I think partly because, like I said, I kind of like started doing stand-up in college, so in a way that's like actually one of the places I feel most comfortable. It's actually, even though it's like sometimes scary if I haven't done an hour in a while to do a long set, it usually ends up being just super fun, and I really find that the audiences are like generally like super smart and very like open-minded about like you trying out like maybe like a really weird direction for a joke or something. So it's like a nice place where I feel like I can kind of like be creative and like try to like try some of my weirdest jokes, or I guess because you have time in an hour to like kind of show like more sides of your personality. So it's like a fun. That's definitely like one of my most fun types of gigs that I've had. I feel like usually for sure.
So when you go to colleges, you are doing an hour, and then maybe your opener and features are doing 15 minutes each, or are you maybe not doing as much as an hour? Does it vary? How does it look?
I usually do at least an hour at colleges. It kind of depends on the situation, I guess. And a lot of times there isn't an opener. Like sometimes it'll just be like, oh, here's the place, and I just show up there, and I'm basically going out. Someone will introduce me, and I just go out, and it's like you're kind of warming up the crowd for yourself. For
that's what I was thinking, because I feel like for the most part, a lot of people are bringing openers. So you don't really like to bring an opener, or is it like whatever?
It kind of depends on what the college wants. I think that for some reason that's just the model at colleges for whatever reason, where a lot of times they just have one comedian that they bring in from like one of the conferences for student activities or from wherever they hear about.
Oh, okay. Like one of the student programs at the college or something.
But some colleges will sometimes let me bring an opener, and that's always nice, especially if it's like driving distance from New York. It's fun to, like,
I
bring
bet.
someone to share the drive and the trip with and the experience. So so that's always been really good too. But it kind of just depends on this, what they're looking for. And other times I've definitely done other formats at colleges where I'll do like just like play improv games similar to stuff from Wild N Out, or do a mix of that and stand up, or do throw in some Q&A, or do or like host an event they want, like a talent show on campus, and do stand up material.
Dude, that's amazing. So like you're getting the best of all performing arts. You're just entertaining up there.
Yeah, I've done ones where there's like awesome music people on, and I'm just like doing stand up in between them. And so there's like all kinds of formats. But my favorite is definitely, it's like kind of fun to sometimes just do an hour by myself and just try to like see how long I can entertain people for and everything. But those are usually a lot of fun.
What are you looking forward to any gigs that you have in the upcoming future besides obviously the Barclays Center?
Yeah, I'm doing some shows in the Philadelphia area on March 25th and 26th.
So you're doing like a weekend there?
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I have to like figure out the details so I can post them and everything, and I should know them right now. But that should be fun. And so I'll be doing a headlining show one night where I'm doing about an hour, and then I think maybe something similar the next night. I have to check, but I guess stuff like that is really fun. I think I have some other road gigs coming up, but I just need to like figure out.
Sit down and just like write it all down
in front of me. But and then just doing stuff around here as well. So I think I'll probably have something in my hometown soon as well, and just a few other places. So things have been kind of popping up, but mostly just also doing shows almost every night here, and just trying to like slowly work on
new stuff. So in doing shows in New York, I typically like to ask every comedian that comes on the podcast, what is your favorite comedy club in New York, if you have one?
Wow, that's
and
a
you're
good
allowed
question.
to say the comedy club that books you the most. That's fair. So you don't have to say one that's like just because you want to say it, whatever.
Right. Well, this one does not book me the most, but I like the Comedy Cellar. The few times I've done like Friends independent shows there, that's been fun. I'm not officially past there, but I love hanging out at the restaurant there with some of my friends, and I love doing occasional Friends shows in the lounge venue and stuff. I love New York Comedy Club. Obviously, I'm so happy I shot my album and special.
Yeah,
there.
I see you're a lot there.
Yeah, I love performing there. They're nice enough to have me.
Which one do you like better though? East Village or Midtown?
I love both of those rooms. The Gramercy I think is my favorite for like acoustically. I'm so happy I shot my album. I feel like it's such a good place for an album or special because it's like just a really good size for comedy, and the crowd that night and most nights obviously is amazing there. So. Love hanging out there. I love doing shows there. I love judging the roast battles there. So those are a couple of my favorites. I love Eastville Comedy Club.
Oh, nice. Neat. Where's that? Atlantic Avenue one in Brooklyn?
Yeah. That's a really fun room.
Okay, nice.
I used to work at it when it was originally on 4th Street, and that's where
Right. Okay.
like I got to meet some great comics there, and now I love doing it in Brooklyn as well. Stand-up New York is a lot of fun. There's so many good ones, obviously.
Yeah.
I love Caroline's, I love Gotham. But
Jacob did the Ted Jones Comedy Show at the Stand. We had a banger 2 times. But yeah, I mean the Stand being like my favorite spot just because I'm there the most,
That shows like that's how strong the comedy scene is. Like there's so many the Stand obviously amazing. I love doing your show there. I've been lucky to do a couple of times. It's so much fun. And even like last week I happened to go one night and like it was like there was a pop-up show with Chappelle was doing an hour and Chris Rock was doing 30 or 40 minutes. Okay. I think from what I heard it was different on other nights. Like sometimes they'd be on stage together. Sometimes other awesome comedians would come in and riff on stage with them. Yeah. The night I saw it, I think they were like kind of tightening up longer sets. So I don't know exactly the lengths or anything, but Chris Rock might have done like 30 or 40 minutes and Chappelle did like maybe an hour. And
love that.
They had some super funny stuff and it's just, so cool to see people at that level that have been doing comedy so long and are so good at it. Just like coming up with this new stuff that's so funny that you're not even sure, like, will this be in a special or is this just, it was like cool to see some topical stuff that might not even be in a special, but it's like exciting to see these like takes on stuff that I like never would have thought of. So that was a lot of fun for sure. Stuff like that is like, it's amazing to like just see stuff like that you might not be able to see anywhere else. So yeah.
Do you find that New York is the place to be for comedy, or do you find that like maybe you're gonna have to spend some time of the year in LA to work on things?
Yeah, that's a good question. I love LA. I love visiting. I think New York's my like preference. I like am definitely more of a fan of New York overall. But visiting LA, I've done some super fun shows, met a lot of great people, and it's really nice to like kind of mix it up. So they have like some of the best audiences I've seen are there too. So
in LA?
Yeah. So that's been like really fun. The few times I've gone there once in a while for a couple of weeks or whatever. So I definitely want to like go back there again soon because it is always like a really interesting. It feels like an adventure for sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and I'd be totally open to going there for longer, especially if I had something to do,
something like lined
like,
up.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm like I don't know if I'm like cool enough to pull off being there for no reason.
Well, I mean the thing about LA, I mean for me, I don't really like LA in particular. I don't have a bad bone to pick with LA. I just think like. Yeah. It's when you're trying to do things outside of where you are at that exact moment, it's more difficult. Yourself living in a hub where there are so many comedians who live there, and living in Astoria. Yeah. But the thing is, like, no matter where you are in LA, it's just like takes a long time to get to a particular place, and there would be no way for you to do like even 3 spots in LA. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's like harder to get as much stage time there. Yeah, just because of geographically, like you said. Like
like
York,
maybe
so close.
Yeah, like maybe you'll get more stage time when you get to the actual venue. They'll put you up for 15 minutes at almost every club, I think. But I mean, you're only really able to do so much time, right?
Right. There's only so much time you can do, and so many
clubs
you can do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I guess that it just comes down to like, because I'm super into stand-up, so I think for stand-up, New York is my favorite. But if I had something where I was acting was or writing was going well for me, and it was there were a lot of opportunities there, I might switch it up. And I do love doing those things too. But right now, it's like I just love stand up as a home base, like whether things are going good or not, like whether they're going well or poorly for me at any given time. It's like nice to know I can probably still find somewhere to like get on stage and work on stuff. And it's like kind of nice to have that as like something I can kind of like work on and gets me through good or bad times in terms of like having a creative outlet at least. So that's something I like about New York. Whereas LA, it seems like it's really exciting when you're like doing cool projects, but I feel like it might be tough for me when I'm like might end up in many situations where I'm like in between things or like don't really know where to get on stage or what to work on. So yeah, I'd be definitely open to trying it out sometime just to like mix it up. It seems like great weather, but overall New York is I'm definitely a big fan.
The place to be. So you, I mean, you like stand up more than improv?
I think so. Yeah, stand up is definitely like my number one thing, and it's something I do almost every day, or at least I certainly like try to write jokes every day. And
are you performing a set every day, like at your apartment?
Oh,
how does that look? So for just to, I guess give you kind of a background, like for the most part, I like every day I'll do like a set in my mirror over here. I do like anywhere from, I mean, if it's like, if I'm doing a show that's like 10 minutes, I'll do 10 minutes to 20 minutes, stuff like that. And then kind of just run through my material. What does your process kind of look like in terms of, you say you're writing new stuff like every day?
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really tried that. I've tried different things. I will journal 3 pages every morning, not even like for material purposes, but
just like kind of day stuff.
Yeah, it's something I read about in like The Artist Way about just kind of clearing your head for the day.
Nice.
It helps me kind of like get it out of my system if I'm having like things that are distracting me. Like,
so that instead of coffee?
That and coffee. But I do. Yeah. I wasn't even having coffee that much until recently, but now I'm like, that's been kind of helping me just because I haven't been sleeping well. Although the coffee probably makes that worse, but then it also makes it better.
Like soothes you. Yeah.
Weird
It's both. You're right.
It's an addiction at this point, but
makes it worse. Yet better.
But yeah, I've tried different things. Yeah, so then I might try to free write later in the day too. Or the biggest thing is just like sometimes I've just been trying to just be, kind of as present as I can. And just like I end up just noticing a lot of stuff. And anytime I think of stuff, just try to write it down throughout the day because it happens organically a lot. And then I can hopefully put it together at some point and try it out on a show somewhere. But yeah, so it's just kind of ongoing trying to listen and pay attention to stuff I think of or notice.
So any interests outside of comedy, the comedy game? Like what does your weekend potentially look like hanging out with friends if you don't have any spots?
Sure. Yeah, it's funny because like comedy is a big part of my just not like it doesn't feel like work because it's so fun. But then even if I don't have a show, I love like we said like hanging out at the Stand or New York Comedy Club or the Cellar is like so fun. I end up like seeing people I know usually and having great conversations. So that's always fun, but I love, checking out like comedy, but also like other types of things. I've been going to like a lot of plays and musicals.
Oh, really? In where kind of places?
So I've been seeing some Broadway shows like Hadestown or like Little Shop of Horrors, which I'd never seen like the movie or anything of. And like, it's so cool to see, like, I feel like I learned so much from, even though and there is comedy in there, but it's like cool to see people that are just like amazing singers. Or I saw like Hugh Jackman and The Music Man and like had this crazy like choreography with like
he was doing that for a while, right?
That's Broadway? How he started as an actor. Yeah, so that was like his first kind of skill before he even became a movie star and everything. But so it's cool to see stuff like that and just like these really talented people in all kinds of performance styles, whether it's like singing, dancing, or acting, or music, or anything like that. So I love doing that. I love even like Rat Scraps as a show at Caveat every Sunday that one of my old teachers from UCB is in, and they're super talented. I love watching them, just people doing great improv, which I guess is comedy related. But yeah, I love watching movies. Like I've been watching like horror movies. I've been reading a lot of fun like science fiction and supernatural short stories from people like Shirley Jackson, Ray Bradbury, Philip K. Dick, Stephen King, and those are all people that I heard about through like Simon Rich, who is like more of a comedy writer that wrote on SNL. He writes really funny short stories. But it was cool to hear like some of his inspirations, which are these like people that write very like unsettling and like captivating supernatural or like science fiction stories, which are interesting. So that's been cool. I love just walking around, going to parks, going to museums.
Yeah, bro, and it's getting nicer too, man. That's like the beautiful thing. I love a good park in a museum. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I really do.
Karaoke is a lot of fun.
Nice.
Did that Saturday. It was super fun.
Dope.
So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to do.
There is a lot of stuff to do in New York, man. That's also the beautiful thing about New York. You really, I mean, comparing it to a Chicago and LA, I mean, there's just more stuff to do down the block that there is in, down the street in Chicago or down the street in LA. You go down the street in New York, no matter where you are, you usually have stuff to do. So Jacob, what are we looking for from you within the next couple to 3 months? Are you going to be trying to work on your new hour? What does the next 3 months look like besides, the shows that you have?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess, like I said, yeah, definitely I will be trying to work on my new hour of comedy, just trying to do shows around here. I'll be doing a few improv shows and musical improv shows coming up here and there, but most nights of the week I'll be doing stand-up and then also trying to work in new jokes on all of those shows as much as I can. And then, of course, my official first hour is on, like I said, on YouTube, but now just, trying to do as much comedy stuff as I can. So I don't know if there's really much for me to plug, but just I'll be like posting about that on social media and then just like jokes and shows and whatever I'm doing at the time. But yeah, just I don't know, just trying to
keep it moving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So quickly before we get out of here, Jacob, please plug your Instagram and where we can find you. Where the best place to find you.
Instagram is MrJacobWilliams, which is also my Twitter and TikTok.
MrJacobWilliams.
Yeah, because it's a very common name. I think it was already taken. I think there's even another person with my same name that like.
There's a guy like I'm Jacob Williams. Is there?
There's someone who lives in New York that is named Jacob Williams that is also in comedy and has also done UCB stuff. So
really,
yeah, there'll be someone. There used to be a sketch show there, and people multiple times someone would be like, "I loved your sketch," and it'd have to be like, "That wasn't me," but it was someone with the same name as me. So I see why you would think that. But anyway,
Mr. Jacob Williams.
Yeah, Mr. Jacob Williams, spelled MR, and comedian Jacob Williams on Facebook. But yeah, I'll be like posting photos and jokes and videos and show info on there. And again, shout out New York City. I think someone said, I heard this quote once when we were talking about LA and New York. Like someone said, like in New York they say fuck you and they mean hello, and LA they say hello and they mean fuck you. So it's like kind of a funny concept.
You gotta be real. Be real. Jacob Williams, thank you so much.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. That was a lot of fun.
Dude, that was really fun. So much fun. Guys, Jacob Williams, follow this guy, Mr. Jacob Williams, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.